Hello, Gold Derbyites. Welcome back to another episode of Awards Magnet. I'm Deputy Editor Ethan Alter, and this week we'll be defying gravity as we talk about Wicked for Good, the second installment of the blockbuster Wicked musical franchise. With me to break this movie down, which is in theaters now, are senior editors Mia McNeese and senior editor Kevin P. Sullivan. Welcome both.
Thank you.
Thanks, got to be here.
The last time we all got together was for One Battle After Another. We did a big breakdown on that. Now we're talking about the other potential Best Picture candidate, Wicked for Good. And we're going to do same thing, break down our takes on the film, talk about its awards chances, and then at the end, we're going to set aside some time for a spoiler discussion where we can get into some of the major scenes without spoiling everyone. And we'll make sure to give plenty of advance notice to all you viewers and listeners. So if you haven't seen it yet, you can bounce out and then bounce back in when you after you've seen it.
You can wave that wand all you want, but you have no real power.
I'm a public figure now. People expect me to
Lie?
be encouraging.
You can't resist this.
Who could?
You know who could.
Wicked for Good, after all the build-up, a year of waiting, a year of hype, a year of Ariana and Cynthia holding space jokes, we have the conclusion to this franchise. Mia, Kevin, and I have all seen it. So Mia, why don't you start us off? Tell us about your experience watching it and how you came out of the theater afterwards.
I'm going to say something controversial, I think, in that I actually enjoyed this one more than the first. I know that's not popular opinion, but the first one was great. I mean, obviously, but it was kind of cramming in so much. And this time I actually felt just kind of more settled into everything. So I could really just kind of sit back, enjoy visually everything, and enjoy these performances, which I thought were a little bit more emotional this time around. Ariana definitely shows a little bit of a darker side to Glinda, and I just thought there was a little bit more depth to the characters in this one and the emotional journey they go on.
Kevin, how about yourself?
Yeah, no, I think, that's certainly a take that's been popping up. I know I did a roundup of the reviews for Gold Dubry just the other day, and that is something that's emerging. It's not particularly something that I feel. Wicked was the first part was something that caught me totally off guard. I knew the songs pretty well and had seen the musical, and I had a really kind of solid idea of what I thought this was going to be. Like, it was cast well. John M. Chu really knows how to mount a musical. I thought it was like solid production wise, and then I was really blown away. I was really blown away by it. I thought the translation from stage to screen, I thought was really sensitively done. I think the performances were tuned just right, and that it had brought a cinematic quality to the first act of a stage musical that I didn't know there was really potential for. I thought we were kind of just beginning to go through the motions. And the act two problem of Wicked was always the main question for Good. And I think on Broadway it runs about 45 minutes. There are many songs, but they're not quite as beloved as the ones from the first act, and it's just all kind of climax. And my experience with For Good was that there are Act Two problems. Like, it's just that I thought that they had managed to pull something to really, interestingly enough together for the first part to feel like a film. They cobbled together enough of an ending out of the conclusion of Act One. And this to me, it is a little bit more, there is more room to breathe, and there is that, but there wasn't like a lot of cohesion or movement or like a real sense of structure to really kind of carry me through. So some of the emotional moments of it felt kind of odd or poorly established. That being said, I think it would be a mistake to consider this movie as anything other than the second part of a two-part experience. I think I wouldn't be so hard on it if I wasn't so surprised with how much I liked just the first part as a standalone movie. But these two really do exist as a pair, and I think they'll make a killer, 5 hour double feature. But overall, I left pretty happy. I like when John M. Chu makes a Wicked movie.
Excellent. Yeah, there actually already are double bill showings at least my local Alamo up here. They're doing like the 5 hour experience if you feel like ordering wings and pizza over a nighttime a binge watch. But yeah, no, it's interesting to your point, Kevin, about the Act Two problems. I mean, I knowing the show, I was always kind of afraid about this movie because Act Two is a harder prospect than Act One. I think Act One it feels so it has the best music in it, has Defying Gravity, ends on that. It's hard to top that note. For lack of a better pun, after ending that way. And so going into this one, I wasn't quite sure how it was going to work. How were they going to overcome the Act Two problems? And to your point, I don't think they quite do it. I think the material itself never lets them fully get over it. But I think they find their way through by really zeroing in on that relationship between Elphaba and Glinda and really grounding everything that happens in the movie in that. And so all the extraneous stuff, it always relates back to how they're feeling and how their relationship unfolds. So as long as they're at the core of it, I think this part works pretty well. I think it's whenever they have to account for the Wizard of Oz stuff, the sort of things that are left over, the storylines that are left over from the first part, that things get a little complicated and a little less clear. It's clear the heart of the movie is with these two, and whenever they're on screen, I think it really does soar, and that's when it's at its best. I think the specifically the rendition of For Good, I could see in my theater there was a lot of tears during that scene particularly, and they had to land that moment. I think the fact that they do is a sign that they at least get that right. They know they had to get that right, and I think they do ultimately.
Yeah, I mean, as just a marker of, I think of the quality and how well that moment in particular lands. You mentioned crying. There was someone sobbing like heaving next to me, and yeah, I mean, they are really good. I'm curious what you guys think. I mean, my main takeaway is as much as I liked it with some reservations. This really should have been, if any movie should have been 90 minutes. I think we could have done it. I think we could have done it here.
I mean, also, I just want to bring up, this is not a part two that you want to go into without seeing part one. I don't know. There's some movies like that, yeah. But like you just would drop into Emerald City and be like, what is happening? So really, I encourage anybody going to see the second part to go watch the first part if you have not already.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, because there are sometimes like middle chapters. Like I can easily just watch Empire Strikes Back. I can easily watch The Two Towers by themselves and be perfectly satisfied. But I think you're right that in this case, a lot of it does depend on having just come out of Wicked Part 1 and going straight into this and enjoying it. I do wonder, actually, are they going to retitle Wicked Part 1 at any point? Because this is Wicked for Good. I feel like they need to go back and change the title of the first one, take away the Part 1 and call it something else at this point.
Well, I mean, this is maybe something we can discuss in the spoilers, but I am not alone in having the conspiracy theory that the For Good was a very calculated choice to say that this is not the end of the road for Wicked.
Yeah, that's good.
Wait, really? You think they're going to do a whole new, get everyone back?
Well, I mean, the Gregory Maguire books, there was several of them.
Right.
And I know the direct sequel dealt with Elphaba's son, and I mean, the musical ends quite differently from the first book.
Right.
But I don't know, movie studios. I think Universal, if Universal was acting like a modern movie studio, is probably going to be trying to build a theme park out of Wicked, and then try to figure out what the extended universe looks like.
Yeah, for sure. One talking point I've seen, I'd be curious both your thoughts, is there have been some people arguing that part two, because it doesn't stand alone so well, that they really should have just made it all one movie. That this is an argument that they should have put them together and just done as 1 3-hour blockbuster. I still think you need that ending of Defying Gravity to leave from and then come back to it later. I don't know that you could have done the full story in 3 hours. I think giving the space to breathe especially helps Ariana and Cynthia's performances specifically. Do you have any feelings? Like, do you think you would have preferred to see one movie instead of having it broken up?
No, I think because they were not so, we didn't wait forever. It was close enough together that I was okay with the breather in between. You kind of let the first one settle. You really and then you're kind of building up and waiting for the second one. So I don't think I would have liked it all as one. I think I kind of preferred it how they did it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't mind the year. I liked having another movie to look forward to. But in terms of the runtime, even if it's, I think the first movie earns its runtime at 2.5 hours. So you're looking at quite a long movie, realistically 3.5 hours if you were going to do one. But I know we're looking at a 3 hour and 17 minute Avatar 3 coming out. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. I mean, but I'm sure someone will do a fan edit, Wicked, the whole bloody affair, and we'll get
There we go.
maybe a cut down version of part 2. I could see that happening, but no, I didn't mind. I didn't mind the wait.
Yeah.
It's a lot to take in. I mean, there's so many visuals, characters, storylines, it's just monkeys flying. Like, it's just a lot. So, like, any type of little break to kind of digest it, I think is a good thing.
Right. Absolutely. And the thing that I liked about, actually, I should say for good as well, compared to the first one, I thought one of the things that the first one I thought didn't do quite as well was making each number sort of a tighter production number. They, especially Defying Gravity, they dragged out over about 15 minutes. So you got portions of song chopped up with action. I thought this one did a better job keeping the songs contained and feeling more like a Broadway show in that case. We get a great number with the Wizard and Elphaba and Glinda at the start of the movie. And then throughout, they really keep the production numbers more contained than in the first one, where they tended to sort of drag them out a little bit longer. I think that helped with the runtime, and again, returned it more to its musical roots than the first movie did. So that's something that occurred to me about the second one that I liked a little bit more.
Yeah, and it should be said that the songs that people do know and love from the second act, I think they do absolutely nail. No Good Deed is a standout, and I heard different opinions about As Long as You're Mine. I loved it. My wife, who really loves Jonathan Bailey, really liked it. I think she was fanning herself off after it was done. But yeah, no, I think very much in keeping with the first film. The arrangements, the performances of these songs is absolutely top notch.
Absolutely. All right. Well, let's dive a little bit into the awards prospects. Now, coming into this, it looked like the Oscar race has been dominated mostly chatter-wise by One Battle After Another and Hamnet have been the two early films that have been leading, especially on our leaderboards. And One Battle has been screened. It's been shown. It's sort of at the end of its theatrical life cycle. Hamnet hasn't come on the scene yet. A lot of it is of its support comes from the Festival of, and the awards is won on that circuit. So Wicked is coming at an interesting time, and it's certainly going to be the biggest hit in the race, save for Avatar, which is probably going to be the one that is all said and done the highest grossing movie of the year. So let's talk a little bit about the best picture prospects. I still think it gets in. I think it's clear that the momentum is with it. The industry loves it. The audiences love it. It's a hit. So it's going to be, for me, in the top 3 possibilities of potential win. It has a clear narrative path that can follow. How do you feel about its prospects now that you've seen it, now that it's out in the marketplace for people to see?
Yeah, I agree. I think it has a good chance of getting a spot. I mean, it's just, it's like eye candy, but there's amazing performances, there's amazing songs. I think it's more digestible. I mean, Hamnet, as great as it is, it's a hard movie to watch. So, this is kind of like a pleasing film that has everything you want when you go to the movies. So I don't know. I do think it has a great chance. And I also think, Ariana's this time around is even stronger, her performance. So I think there's a stronger chance for her. Cynthia's always, been great, but again, equally as strong in this one as well. So I think it has a really good chance. Obviously, production design, costume design, makeup and hair, sound, those types of things. That's obvious, a sure bet. But I think the other ones have a good chance as well.
Yeah, I was wondering if I should keep up my tradition as established in One Battle After Another and say that Wicked for Good is going to win Best Picture. No. I think
you did not do this for every film we discuss.
If I keep doing it, it will dilute the power of my first prediction. I won't look so stupid.
And you'll get it right if you say it for every single
eventually.
film. Like, one of them does have to actually win. So that's a good point.
Eventually, I'm standing by One Battle right now. But in terms of Wicked for Good, it does. I think we're seeing more of a Dune Part 2 rather than a Return of the King situation. I don't think this is going to be a victory lap in terms of wins, but kind of along the lines of Dune Part 2. I think you're going to see a lot of the same technical nominations, with the addition of I think Ariana is making a stronger case for supporting actor. And I think Cynthia is phenomenal and really carries this thing. I would have loved to have seen John Chu get in last year, but if that's kind of the standard and the field is really strong this year, I don't know if I see him breaking in with this particular installment. We'll see, though. I mean, it is an achievement, and I think there will be some element of voters considering the whole and really what was put up on screen, especially for this film, which is such a beloved musical and has went through so many years and years of development, and finally to have pulled it off so successfully. I don't know if he squeaks it. It's really, really quite tight this year.
I was writing the same thing, Kevin. If they'll kind of just see it as one whole piece and give him, a nomination for that kind of the big piece of art that it is this time around.
No, I think the obvious comparison is Peter Jackson for Lord of the Rings, and he was nominated for Fellowship, the first one, and then he was nominated and won for Return of the King, the last one. So the middle chapter they didn't nominate him for, but he did have 2 shots, and they wound up giving it to him for the last one for completing his epic. So I like your point that if John Chu gets in there, it would be a case of sort of rewarding the overall picture, and it feels like that there is a potential case for him to make the 5th slot as a result, if they really want to give him the credit for creating something that people really love, that's done very well globally, that it stands alone, that people will watch for constantly. I think this is going to be on repeat in a lot of homes. I think that's a good chance for him to at least get that nomination and be recognized that way.
Yeah, I think just having the Gold Derby best director predictions pulled up, I think what remains to be seen is kind of how those fourth and fifth slots shake out, because you have Paul Thomas Anderson, you got Chloe Zhao, and Ryan Coogler, I think, locks at this point. The trend in the last few years has been one international feature, getting into best director. That's not any hard and fast rule. We could see both Joachim Trier and Jafar Panahi get in, but I mean, in 6 you have Josh Safdie for Marty Supreme, and then 7 John M. Chu for Wicked for Good, and so that will be interesting to see. I think Marty Supreme's not going to be out until Christmas, and it's really still kind of a question mark how that is received in a more general sense. It came out really strong out of New York Film Festival, and we know Timothy Chalamet has already got his campaign going. He's very hands-on with that. I love that. But
you guys see the blimp yesterday? Oh, Ethan, you didn't. There was actually a green blimp in the sky. Oh no, an orange blimp sky over Los Angeles. Yeah, that said Marty Supreme. So they're pulling all the stops out. Yeah.
I mean, we're not to get too far off topic, but the Marty Supreme campaign is becoming the most intriguing element of this year, because there was, I don't know if people saw, there was a internal marketing Zoom that was shared by Timothy Chalamet in which he appeared, and not entirely clear how in character he was for this, because there's a very good argument to be made that it is one of the most phenomenal pieces of comedic acting this year, where he shows the shade of orange that his artist worked on for 6 months. And the blimp, I think, is proof of that. But yeah, that kind of speaks to one of the big remaining questions of this season so far, I think, is how Marty Supreme takes off.
Right, absolutely, and I do think the to your point about the international contenders, I've always felt that Jafar Panahi is definitely going to get into the top 4, which does leave the 5th slot open for a Safdie, for a Trier, for a Chu. So I think those 3 are battling it out, and to see whether they think that the end of a story in Chu's case is the right one to honor versus launching Chalamet on this crazy coming of age odyssey that is Marty Supreme will be the determining factor, which will be really interesting to see.
I also think, I'm curious to hear if you guys have the same experience. I felt like Frankenstein had a good amount of kind of penetration into the zeitgeist, where I heard a lot more people talking about it than I have a lot of these contenders that are coming out towards the end of the year. And so I don't think Guillermo is to be slept on.
That's a good point. Yeah,
as a past winner.
And it has been gaining traction recently, even. So I think with it going on Netflix and people, now more people seeing it. Yeah, that's a good point to bring up, because we're still a little bit early in, to know exactly how much more people will like it and see it and vote for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And even though Del Toro's won once before, so he has been recognized in that way. But he's beloved in the industry, so I think people are always eager or happy to see him end up when they have the chance to award him. They like taking the opportunity. I will make a Kevin Sullivan shot call here and say, and my take is that if Ariana wins Best Supporting Actress, then Cynthia Erivo will definitely win Best Actress, even though she's in a very crowded category, Jessie Buckley being the most obvious early precursor to win. But I think that neither of them win without the other, especially after watching that For Good song. I can't imagine a way that you honor one and not honor the other. So I think they either win together or neither of them do. That's going to be my shot call right now. That's how I see it unfolding.
I mean, they might not let that happen. If I don't think they would be okay if one of them won and the other didn't.
Right.
That is a bold call, and I appreciate the branding on it.
Kevin, in your bold predictions, I didn't think it was possible, but Ethan did it. That's we're gonna hold you to that one.
Fair. No, I'm ready. But I do think clearly Ariana has a better chance, I think, right now in her category. Certainly going into it, that feels a little less settled. It doesn't seem like there's a clear front runner. Whereas in Best Actress, Jessie Buckley is going to be a hard person to overcome for sure. I still think that there are a lot of narratives working in Cynthia's favor that give her a very strong case to make. She'd be the first Black performer to win Best Actress since Halle Berry. She'd complete her EGOT status. And again, she took a role that everyone knew as Idina Menzel's role and made it her own. So I think all those stories go very effectively into her campaign. And Jessie Buckley's brilliant. We know she'll be nominated again. There's a chance that she can easily win another award somewhere down the line. Here's a chance for Cynthia to win and be recognized for this. So that's why I still see her as winning. And then you have Ariana in a field that's a little less settled, easier path for her to win, and then the two of them together, you have them united on stage. It would be a perfect Oscar moment. So again, that's why I think they either both win or neither.
I'm gonna have to pop. Yeah, Ethan's like Wicked bubble on that one. I don't think. I think you're in a magical land right now. I don't know if that will happen, but we'll see.
So you don't see Jessie Buckley as you think she's a lock. There's no one else has any reason for it to compete. Okay, interesting.
I think so. Yeah, I don't think that Cynthia's gonna get it over her, but we'll see. You never know. That's what makes it exciting. But yeah, Jessie's performance was just undeniable. She's been, leading the predictions since day one. I would be surprised.
I was just thinking about who's going to have to apologize more after the Oscars.
I can't wait to talk to you guys right after the Oscars.
No, I know. That's a conversation for another day. But yeah. I don't know. My one battle feelings are. My feelings with the movie haven't changed, but the odds of it it's been interesting to see. I think
sure.
There's a lot to look out for this season for sure.
Right, absolutely. And I will say I've given myself a slight out by saying that if neither one win, if the one doesn't win, the other one win, then they both don't win. So I have that out that way. I'm like, oh well, yeah, obviously Ariana didn't win, so of course Cynthia wouldn't win.
Right. Yeah, they can blame each other. Yeah.
Right. And if it's raining on Oscar day, and Cynthia doesn't win, okay, I'm already seeing this.
Right, exactly. Okay. My retcon, exactly. Well, let's look quickly at the Best Supporting Actress category, because I've got that leaderboard pulled up. So we have Ariana leading right now. Teyana Taylor, everyone sort of expects her to certainly get in for Best, especially since Chase Infinity moved to Best Actress, so that clears a path for Teyana. There are two sentimental value actresses in contention right now: Elle Fanning and Inga Isboter Lilias, who are both predicted, and then Amy Madigan for Weapons. I still don't see both of those sentimental value actresses necessarily getting in. I think it's going to be one or the other, or possibly even neither. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure that everyone for that movie gets recognized. So, what are some other thoughts in terms of where that category is going? Who else might get in? We have Wunmi Mosakas at number 8, Regina Hall's at number 7. Are there any people who you think could challenge Ariana for supporting actress? Any strong contenders?
I just think the thing about this category, it really is the one that is most unknown. I really can't say for sure, that I can't even a stronger opinion for the best picture, best actress, but this one is really kind of still up in the air, and I still think people need to see some films, things need to shake out. Yeah, I don't see anyone really taking her place right now, but I don't know. There's still, it's still very unpredictable.
Yeah, I think to me the key contender right now is Amy Madigan. That's the one I'm
Mm.
watching. Her arc in the predictions has been interesting because it's someone who most people didn't know was going to be in Weapons by the time they went to go see Weapons. Her character was the thing to talk about, and then strictly within the Gold Derby predictions, she was the one who basically fought her way into the category. And so we still have a few weeks left of the year. There's still a lot of time, a lot of precursors to get through. But in terms of just like sheer impact, you know, she is going to be kind of hard to beat. I think Teyana Taylor, obviously just kind of a firecracker performance, and does a ton with a little bit of screen time. And Ariana is a really good performance, and she's, I think, in number one position by virtue of having just been nominated for this role. And I think we're going to see. I think her status as number one is only going to be fortified by this movie coming out and people seeing it and voting in the prediction center. But yeah, I agree with Mia. There's a lot of room for shake up here. But yeah, Aunt Gladys is who I'm keeping my eye on.
Yeah, absolutely. And we know she's certainly beloved in the industry, married to Ed Harris. So they're a power couple in their way, a character actor power couple. So I think people would love to see to see her win for sure.
I want to hang out with those two. It's gonna be that's a chill that's a chill couple, I bet.
And let's do a quick Best Actress tech since we were talking there, right? As we said, Jessie Buckley's in the out front right now by a wide margin. Renata Renciv from Sentimental Values also in there. Cynthia, Emma Stone still hanging on for Begonia, and then Rose Byrne is snuck into number 5 for If I Had Legs I'd Kick You, which I still think is a real possibility. I think based on depending on how that movie does with the Gothams, especially, that helps elevate her, and I think she has the Andrea Riseborough factor potentially helping in her favor. She could be that respected actress who gets in because of the respect around her, and it's the movie all built around her. So I definitely see her finishing there. The one I would switch, I think, instead of Emma Stone, I see Amanda Seyfried getting in for Testament of Anne Lee. I know I'm the biggest booster of that movie. It's so far my favorite movie of the year. I think she's brilliant in it, but I can see her sort of taking the Emma Stone spot. In fact, I'm surprised that Emma Stone is still hanging on there as she has. Since Begonia, the word has been so mixed around it.
Yeah, I was gonna do a volleyball set to you to come up and spike the Amanda Seyfried. Which is why audio listeners should be watching the video on goldderby.com to get that bonus level of content. But thankfully, I didn't have to do that. Yeah, I think Amanda gets in once that movie kind of rolls out and people check it out. But yeah, the fringes of this are interesting. Yeah, it's really competitive. Just despite how much of a foregone conclusion Jessie Buckley seems to be right now. The rest of this category is pretty hard to predict. I could see pretty much any combination of these, 6 or 7 people.
I agree. I do think voters love Emma Stone, obviously. So I think she has that going for her. And I mean, I don't think Chase is going to get it, but it's very interesting for her as well as a newcomer. You never know, voters could shock us and, Chase takes it. Like, it's just, I do think Jesse's going to get this one, but there are a few kind of that are still, I'm not really, it could get a nomination. It's hard to say.
And then another story I'm keeping a close eye on is, I think, Sinners has been really kind of re-engaging with the conversation, and there's been a lot more press events and reconsideration events. Just doing the hard work of reminding everyone of how much we all lost our minds over this movie, and for good reason. I think that is something that kind of remains to be seen. How much of that love from earlier this year, I think April, carries over, and I think that's also something I'm not trying to underestimate because of recency bias.
Yeah. No, Sinners definitely also has a very strong case to make, I think, for sure. It's worth keeping an eye on that one. Before we shift to the spoiler discussion of Wicked, I do want to just make one final note on my shot call. I went back and was doing just some research on the history of the past 30 years in terms of how these awards line up. Interesting stat. The last time, there have been 2 times in the past 30 years that the same movie has won Best Supporting Actress and Best Actress. And that was Everything Everywhere All at Once with Michelle Yeoh and Jamie Lee Curtis winning, and then way back in '98 for Shakespeare in Love with Judi Dench and Gwyneth Paltrow winning. And I will note that in both of those cases, both of those movies went on to win Best Picture. So if I want to carry my shot call further, I would say if Ariana wins and Cynthia wins, Wicked for Good could also win Best Picture. Just putting it out there as
you have your theory, and now you have your facts to back it up.
I
This
have
is
some
impressive.
stats.
Yeah.
Ethan Alter on the record. Ariana Grande is the Judi Dench of her
Totally, yeah.
generation.
Yeah.
But leaving
Not
myself
just spouting theories, everybody. He actually has evidence to prove this.
I have some data points to.
I am not a crackpot. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to jump into some quick spoiler discussion on Wicked for Good. So again, if you haven't seen it, now's the time to bail out. Come back after you've seen it. It's not hard to find a screening. It's playing everywhere, all around the world. So you will easily be able to find out. But yeah. Yes, we're going to jump into a spoiler section. It's interesting. I think I want to talk about the scene that really didn't work for me, and this is a part of the problem with the whole Wizard of Oz Part 2 connection. The death of Nessa Rose, who is Elphaba's sister. Wicked Witch of the East, obviously, that's the analogy there. But I just find the fact that she has to die in the way she dies in this movie, it's really weirdly done. The way that Glinda comes over and says, "Well, we used to hang out at school, and now there's a house on you. I'm sorry about that." It's a weird moment. I think that character kind of gets lost from what we see in the first movie because she makes this weird turn towards evil, but not really. So I think that, and I don't know if there's any way around that in the movie. But how did you feel about that scene and how it played for you?
Yeah, I agree. And just that it didn't have the emotional pull that I think it was hoping to get. I wasn't, I didn't break out the tissues. I was kind of just like, I agree. There was it was a little off-putting almost. It just didn't quite work. But I did like, I loved all the origin stories in this film about the Wicked Witch of the West and the Scarecrow, and, the Tin Man, all of that. So that was kind of part of all of that, which I enjoyed. But yeah, it didn't quite grab me and, have the emotional kind of spin on it that I think that they were probably hoping for.
Yeah, I think part of the issue was how Nessa Rose was characterized in the first part as just a true innocent, just a victim of unfortunate circumstances and marginalized and without a real edge or any kind of major flaw. And so when they do have to make this pivot to kind of get into some of that darker territory, like that's interesting. It doesn't feel like there was groundwork for that. And it does feel sudden. I think there's also, there's something interesting in how it's shown or not shown, where we see the house flying, and then by the time we catch back up to that storyline, Glinda has already sent off Dorothy onto the journey. And Elphaba seems to have already kind of internalized and processed a little bit, where she comes to say goodbye to her sister, and there isn't really any kind of emotional catharsis. It is just kind of this kind of almost stoic moment of goodbye, Nessa. And it's just I don't know if that was the relationship that we saw, especially with the flashback in the first part, where this older sister was a protector and a defender of her little sister. And it felt like it was a little bit we were missing a little bit of some of that heft that I think could have made that into something that was really emotional. But also there's so much darkness in this, largely stemming from plot points that were laid out in The Wizard of Oz. As we see multiple characters transformed in horrifying ways. It is generally quite a bummer. And so I think it almost seemed like a calculated choice to be okay, well, let's not go all the way in on this moment, because if if it was treated with more emotional honesty, it would be devastating and maybe kind of derail a lot of the rest of the plot.
Yeah, I mean, no broom pun intended, but it was kind of swept under the rug.
Oh,
Boom! Boom!
oh no!
Andy, I'm done.
Love it. Yes.
Oh
yes.
god.
Well, what's so funny too is that death is immediately followed by a fight scene where we have
crazy.
Like a slap
It's
battle,
crazy.
Which is a weird shift. It's a weird pivot to have after Nessa Rose is there lying under the house and suddenly Elphaba and Glinda are having their one fight scene.
I mean, a funny moment, and like I like seeing those actors like that we've seen, like you said, so infatuated with each other in a really seemed like a genuine and sweet way, wrestling on screen. But it is like almost like the movie being like, "Don't be too sad. Like it's still fun. We're still having fun. Don't cry." Yeah, there were a few different moments of having a hard time kind of charting. How the movie was supposed to make us, how the movie wanted us to be feeling, and just a little bit of disconnect there. And I think that part of that stems from the structure of this kind of being all over the place and this being really kind of a loose film.
Exactly. And then we should touch on the ultimate ending because Kevin, you think that they're going to find a way to make a sequel. They're going to find a way to bring all these characters back at some point. And certainly where we end up is with Elphaba and Fiyero heading off to parts unknown, whereas Glinda stays behind on Oz and achieves power finally. It's a nice ending. I think that what it really drives home at the end for me is that the real love story here has always been Elphaba and Glinda, and you can extrapolate that however you want to believe how far their love goes, but I think it's very clear that that's the emotional arc. The fact that the last thing we see is the two of them sort of looking at each other from across their horizon. It really tells you where the emotion lands. So I think that last scene with that lands that plane, lands what the focus of the story has been all along with those two.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see if there is a part 3 and whether it links up with Dune Messiah as Elphaba and Fiyero head off to Arrakis. And it'll be interesting to see.
Right. Yeah, how the ending worked for you? Did you?
I mean, I did not think there was going to be a number 3. It really was like, these are the two. I'm going to go with it. And yeah, I think it kind of stuck to the fact that it's just really the two of them and their friendship, and this is what this story's been about the whole time and what it should be about. So I enjoyed the ending. I was, I thought it was satisfying end to kind of everything that we've been through on this journey from 1 to 2. I thought it was emotional, and I think it kind of put a nice bow on everything.
Did we like how the Scarecrow looked?
No.
That still haunts me.
Yes, it was a scary look. I was not a fan of that.
Also, the Coleman Domingo lion of it all was really, we didn't get any, that was a strange part too. I feel like if we're going to hype Coleman, we need to see more, more Coleman. Yeah.
Interesting choice to make a cowardly lion who sucks. And I mean this by his motivation for joining the posse led by Dorothy to hunt down the witch is that he's resentful for Elphaba for freeing him, and it never, I understand that that's some logic from the stage musical, and that's a little bit of reverse engineering of how I have to do this, but yeah, it doesn't. I was like, it doesn't really make a ton of sense, and so it's a very odd character. But yeah, Fiyero. I mean, it was a criticism I saw on the Reddit thread in reactions to this that Fiyero looks like Chex Mix. It is such a damning piece of film criticism that I cannot top it. It is perfect. Yes, Fiyero looks like Chex Mix.
Can you ever eat Chex Mix again now?
Yeah, right. You've ruined it for us forever.
Yeah.
I only see Jonathan Bailey when I eat Chex Mix now.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I like some of the practical, the costumes. Enough wasn't said about the costumes. I think Fiyero's costumes, Paul Tazwell, who won last year, phenomenal work. Yes. Again, Fierro's wearing his military uniform the entire time. He's got this cape that's kind of a jacket with one arm off. It's stunning stuff, and it translates directly into the Scarecrow outfit, which seems to be practical in wider shots, and then the haunting visage that is his close up. I think is CGI, or maybe makeup enhanced with CGI, but they did try to make him look like Jonathan Bailey with a burlap texture, and it's very odd. And they don't show it too much. It got an audible reaction from my screening. I think it will be divisive.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, it's tough. Your job is to cover up Jonathan Bailey's face, which I don't think anyone wants to do that. No one wants
Sexiest
that.
man alive, Jonathan Bailey. Right?
Not a good move. Yeah.
I will say, just growing up, my favorite Wizard of Oz character was always the Tin Man. I've just always liked the Tin Man. So unfortunately, what this movie has done is tell me that the Tin Man is a guy who sucks, because I think Bach is also one of the movie. So I just choose to believe that Bach is not the real Tin Man. The real Tin Man is still out there in the woods needing oil, and he's going to come in and chop the Bach version up. Because
I need more evidence for this theory, Ethan. If you're going to go out on a limb and say that.
Right. It does kind of leave you in a bad spot,
right?
Where, like, okay, 3/4 of the cast of Wizard of Oz are actually pretty awful. And I thought the effects on Ethan Slater for the Tin Man were really cool.
Yeah.
There was a great combination of practical and digital effects to kind of erase his knees and have these metal joints. But yeah, that's a really dark turn.
Yes.
And that I thought they were cooking with gas there a little bit. And the other thing that I wanted to bring up, which the opening moments of the movie, kind of touching on Mia's point that you really do have to see the first movie, because there's very little in the way of catch up, but there was kind of this montage of kind of stage setting of putting everyone in their place. But then the first real scene is an invention of the movie, which is Alphabet attacking and the workers on the Yellow Brick Road and freeing the animals who are being forced to build it. And it's really effective. It's a really great sequence that does feel like it's staged almost like a Marvel action sequence. And it honestly, it raised my hopes really high when I first opened, where I thought, okay, they're doing some invention here. Like, they understand the problems in front of them, and they understand they have to build this out to make it its own movie. That enthusiasm tapered off somewhat throughout the rest of it, but I think that sequence was really quite thrilling and really effective.
Yeah, I really liked that too. And when in doubt, always just do more Bowen Yang. They didn't do enough Bowen. Where was Bowen Yang? Bowen did not get enough love in this one at all. Maybe that'll be the third one. It'll just be his whole movie.
There we go.
Fanny's Revenge.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what we all need to see. And we should say we criticize because we enjoyed it still at the same time, even with all these nitpicks. I think overall it sounds like all of us mostly had a good time with Wicked for Good.
100%. Yeah.
Oh yeah, these criticisms I would care so much less if I didn't like the first one, and then also if I didn't the highs of part 2 weren't really quite high. Because I mean, the fact of the matter is, this is one of our best filmmakers working today. John Abtu, I think, is immensely talented, working with 2 leads that are just unreal. I was lucky enough to get invited to the Wicked One Wonderful Night, the special and what you don't see on that is that basically every song Cynthia Erivo sang, she decided to sing twice because she just wanted another crack at it, and both were incredibly pitch perfect and sounded better than the recordings. And she was being flung around on wires singing Defying Gravity, and Ariana Grande sounded like an angel. It's just I'm not gonna be mad about really talented singers singing on screen and dancers and great production design with sets built. There's a lot about these movies that do feel like an antidote to some bad trends in studio filmmaking, especially. And so, I mean, that was part of why I was happy to come back a year later. It's just give me more of that. And So yeah, I don't think people are going to walk out too disappointed. It's stuff that it takes you out of the moment for a bit, but I think it is in terms of a creative endeavor, they did it. They adapted Wicked, and we have that story.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Agreed.
Being flung around on wire sounds like a Best Actress candidate to me. There we go. Winning for that alone.
She earned it.
Love it. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us on our Wicked Deep Dive. Again, you can see the movie in theaters this weekend. Hit us up with your feedback, your comments. You're yelling at me about my takes at awardsmagnet@goldderby.com. And we'll be back with more analysis, more stories soon. Take care.
Thanks for listening to Awards Magnet, Gold Derby podcast. Like what you heard? Leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. Awards Magnet is produced by Andrew Merrill. Our logo is designed by Chelsea Sakura. Please like and subscribe to stay on top of all the awards news and email us at awardsmagnet@goldderby.com.